Millions of people have hunkered down to ride out the winter storm that has killed at least 34 people across the United States and is expected to claim more lives after trapping people inside houses and knocking out power to tens of thousands of homes and businesses. The scope of the storm has been on a rarely seen scale, stretching from Canada down to the Rio Grande along the border with Mexico. About 60% of the U.S. population faced some sort of winter weather advisory or warning, and temperatures plummeted drastically below normal from east of the Rocky Mountains to the Appalachians, the National Weather Service said. In some areas, being outdoors could lead to frostbite in minutes, the National Weather Service said in a bulletin. The service advised anyone traveling or going outside to prepare for extreme cold by dressing in layers, covering as much exposed areas of skin as possible, and pack winter safety kits in your vehicles. The storm has led to fatalities in several states including Colorado, Kansas, Oklahoma, Nebraska, New York. As of Sunday, 60% of the U.S. population was under a weather warning. Across the border in Canada, authorities said a bus rolled over on an icy highway in British Columbia on Christmas Eve, killing 4 people and injuring 3 dozen. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police said on Sunday that the bus crashed on Highway 97C east of Merritt. The Regional Health Authority said 36 people were treated for injuries ranging from minor to serious. 8 remained hospitalized on Sunday morning, including 2 in serious condition and 2 with non-life-threatening injuries. The winter storm also hit Ontario and Quebec in recent days, causing flight cancellations and school closures, and knocking out power to hundreds of thousands of customers. In the U.S., among the worst-hit localities was Buffalo, where 2 days of heavy snow and high winds created conditions that local officials said were likely the most severe since 1977. Snowfalls were predicted to be 4 feet to 5 feet as of Sunday evening, drifting to 6 feet. 3 days into the blizzard, people remained stuck in cars on highways and streets, officials said. At one point every fire truck in the city was stranded, said the New York State Governor, Kathy Hochul, while ambulances were averaging 3 hours per trip. It's like a Category 3 hurricane with a bunch of snow mixed in, said Tim Carney, chief of the local sheriff's office whose jurisdiction includes Buffalo. The county's executive, Mark Poloncarz, confirmed 7 fatalities by early Sunday. This is not the Christmas any of us hoped for nor expected, but try to have as merry a Christmas as possible today, he tweeted. Poloncarz added, "Remember the holiday spirit and why we're a community of good neighbors. Again, my deepest condolences to the families who have lost loved ones." The storm knocked out power in communities from Maine to Seattle. But heat and lights were steadily being restored across the U.S. The storm, which forecasters named Elliott, prompted the cancellation or delay of thousands of flights. There were 1,707 domestic and international flights canceled on Sunday as of about 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, according to the tracking site FlightAware. In New York, about 34,000 households were still without power Sunday, including 26,000 in Erie County, where utility crews and hundreds of National Guard troops battled high winds and struggled with getting stuck in the snow. Storm-related deaths were reported in recent days all over the country. The worst effects of Elliott are forecast to lift in some parts of the country. The Weather Service said conditions were expected to slowly improve as the system weakens. However, winds would continue to filter in cold Canadian air to the eastern two-thirds of the nation. The storm is likely to return attention to the issue of climate change, which has likely aggravated conditions that produced the Elliott bomb cyclone. The Environmental Defense Fund said on its website that more snowfall during snowstorms is an expected effect of climate change. That's because a warmer planet is evaporating more water into the atmosphere. That added moisture means more precipitation in the form of heavy snowfall or downpours, it said. In warmer months, the EDF said, that can cause record floods, but during the winter, when our part of the world is tipped away from the sun, temperatures drop, and instead of downpours we can get massive winter storms. A more unstable jet stream attributed to a rapidly warming Arctic allows frigid polar air to penetrate further south than normal, the EDF said.
Russian missiles rained down on Ukraine towns. Russia on Sunday launched more than 10 rocket attacks on the Kupiansk district in the Kharkiv region, shelled more than 25 towns along the Kupiansk-Lyman front line, and in Zaporizhia hit nearly 20 towns, said Ukraine's top military command. Russia's defense ministry said on Sunday that it had killed about 60 Ukrainian servicemen the previous day along the Kupiansk-Lyman line of contact and destroyed numerous pieces of Ukrainian military equipment. Reuters was not able to independently verify the reports. Despite Putin's latest offer to negotiate, there is no end in sight to the 10-month conflict. We are ready to negotiate with everyone involved about acceptable solutions, but that is up to them. We are not the ones refusing to negotiate, they are, Putin told Rossiya One state television in an interview broadcast on Sunday. An advisor to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Putin needed to return to reality and acknowledge it was Russia that did not want talks. Russia single-handedly attacked Ukraine and is killing citizens, the advisor, Mikhailo Podolyak, tweeted. Russia doesn't want negotiations, but tries to avoid responsibility. Russian attacks on power stations have left millions without electricity, and Zelensky said Moscow would aim to make the last few days of 2022 dark and difficult. Russia has lost everything it could this year. I know darkness will not prevent us from leading the occupiers to new defeats. But we have to be ready for any scenario, he said in an evening video address on Christmas Day. Ukraine has traditionally not celebrated Christmas on December 25th. However, this year some Orthodox Ukrainians decided to celebrate the holiday on December 25th, and Ukrainian officials, starting with Zelensky and Ukraine's Prime Minister, issued Christmas wishes on Sunday. The Kremlin says it will fight until all its territorial aims are achieved, while Kyiv says it will not rest until every Russian soldier is ejected from the country. Asked if the geopolitical conflict with the West was approaching a dangerous level, Putin on Sunday said, "I don't think it's so dangerous." Kyiv and the West say Putin has no justification for what they cast as an imperial-style war of occupation. Russian-supplied Iskander tactical missile systems, which are capable of carrying nuclear warheads, and S-400 air defense systems have been deployed to Belarus and are prepared to perform their intended tasks, a senior Belarusian Defense Ministry official said on Sunday. Our servicemen, crews have fully completed their training in the Joint Combat Training Centers of the Armed Forces of the Russian Federation and the Republic of Belarus, Leonid Kaczynski, head of the main Directorate of Ideology at the ministry, said in a video posted on the Telegram messaging app. These types of weapons are on combat duty today, and they are fully prepared to perform tasks for their intended purpose, Kaczynski added. It is not clear how many of the Iskander systems have been deployed to Belarus after Putin said in June that Moscow would supply Minsk with them and the air defense systems. The news follows Putin's visit to Minsk on December 19 amid fears in Kyiv he would pressure Belarus to join a fresh ground offensive and open a new front in his faltering invasion. Russian forces used Belarus as a launch pad for their abortive attack on the Ukrainian capital, Kiev, in February, and there has been a growing flurry of Russian and Belarusian military activity in recent months. The Iskander-M, a mobile guided missile system code-named SS-26 Stone by NATO, replaced the Soviet-era Scud. The guided missiles have a range of up to 500 kilometers and can carry conventional or nuclear warheads. That range reaches deep into neighbors of Belarus. Ukraine and NATO member Poland, which has very strained relations with Minsk. The S-400 system is a Russian mobile, surface-to-air missile interception system capable of engaging aircraft, UAVs, cruise missiles, and has a terminal ballistic missile defense capability. Blasts were heard at Russia's Engels Air Base, hundreds of kilometers from the Ukraine front lines, Ukrainian and Russian media reported on Monday. Russia's governor of Saratov region, home to the Engels Air Base, said law enforcement agencies were checking information about an incident at a military facility. There were no emergencies in residential areas of the city, Roman Busargin, the governor of the region, said on the Telegram messaging app. Civil infrastructure facilities were not damaged. The airbase, near the city of Saratov, about 730 kilometers southeast of Moscow, was hit on December 5 in what Russia said were Ukrainian drone attacks on 2 Russian air bases that day. The strikes dealt Moscow a major reputational blow and raised questions about why its defenses failed, analysts said. Ukraine has never publicly claimed responsibility for attacks inside Russia, but has said, however, that such incidents are karma for Russia's invasion.